It's midnight, I have a margarita. Let's unhaul some books. Hey, what's up? Hello, Katie Colson here. Welcome back to my channel. And we're going to be filming one of my favorite videos to watch from other people in the community, and that is a book unhaul. Now, I did not realize that I had this many books to unhaul, but you would have already seen a giant book haul that I had from that Barnes & Noble sale, and my TBR is packed. It is brimming. And when I looked at these books so I took everything off the shelf and then was reorganizing them and realized they wouldn't fit back on my TBR shelf. It was expanding too far. I had to put it on 2 shelves. And I was like, Katie, no, you cannot do that. Do not let yourself get away with that, because then you'll just never stop buying books. So I culled the pile, got rid of stuff that mainly in series that I just realized I do not want to continue with this. I'd rather pick up one of these new series or books that I was looking through and realized I'm not going to reread this. Hopefully one of these books on my TBR will fill that spot and I will end up loving these and they'll fill in those gaps. So as always, as I always say, but this time I'm really going to do it. I'm not going to give you the synopsis of these books because I'm not recommending them. And a lot of them, you probably already know what they're about or whatever, but I will tell you why I'm choosing to unhaul them. So we're going to start out with some series because, oh my God, I've got so many series that I'm getting rid of. I'm going to get the biggest series out of the way first, and it is volumes 1 through 14 of Tokyo Ghoul. Now, here's what I'll say. I really enjoyed the series. I did. I gave a lot of these 3 or 4 stars, and then I think 1 or 2 of them 2 stars. But the thing is, this started out with a bang. I really enjoyed it. I love the art style. Love the art style. This was really speaking to my 8th grade Hot Topic heart. I was loving it. But okay, so from here to here, we were loving. But then around 9 to 12 was so boring. If you've read this or watched the anime, I don't care about the dubs. I do not care. Why do we spend so much time talking about them? There's way too many characters. Oh my God, there's so many characters. And yes, I love that there's a character map in the front. But that doesn't help me because there's so many of these characters I don't care about. I don't care about them. I don't care about their backstory. Why do I need to find out where this guy grew up? I don't care. And then I will say the ending is amazing. The ending is so wild. It's so good. But there was just such a chunk, honestly, 8 through 13 that I just was I don't care. Even 7, actually. Pretty sure 1 through 6 and 14 were the only ones I actually really liked. So because of that, I really suggest this. I think it's really good, but it's not good enough to take up this much real estate on my manga shelf. This next one really breaks my heart. Before, when we were talking about my 8th grade Hot Topic heart, this stabbed it in the front and the back. Death Note, the black editions. And this is volumes 1 through 12. So I'm counting it as 12 books. Because I can. I loved Death Note when I was growing up. When I was in 9th grade, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, I was obsessed, okay? And I was reading the mangas back when these didn't exist. It was only the single editions. And I read the first 5, I believe, 5 or 6. Loved it. I've seen all the adaptations. I've watched the anime multiple times. Love it. And I picked these up. Oh my God, that's a definite success. I'm going to be obsessed. Yes, love this. It's going to be one of my best of the year. No. I agree. The concept is fantastic. Here's the problem, just like the problem with Tokyo Ghoul, where the first one is good. But, okay, here's another thing. This is so misogynistic. And it's not it was in a different time. No, it wasn't. It was 2012. The misogyny in this is, and I get that it's in Japan, it's not America. In different countries, women are treated a little bit different than every other country, blah, 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 whatever. No, it's so overboard. It's so overboard. The only main female character, Misa is she's supposed to be Harley Quinn. And, okay, listen, the misogyny, it's not cute. But the first 2, I was yeah, this is good. Okay, I think I give it, the first one 4 stars and the second one 3 stars because the first one is hilarious because Ryuk is so funny and I love him. But then volumes 3 through 5, just insanely boring. Just insanely boring. I don't care. I was okay, guys, let's move on. 6, wild. And you know what's hilarious is that in the anime, which is superior in my opinion, I'm sorry, it is, but in the anime, the first 3/4 of the anime are these two going into the third. So just those. And then the last third is just this. They literally cut out half of this and both of these volumes. And like, don't even talk. They just gloss over it because they knew it was boring. They knew that. And the ending is wild. It's wild. It's so good. But let me tell you that something happens in the fourth one that I deluded myself. Like, I literally blacked this out of my memory and I forgot that this happened. And whenever I read it, I was livid. And honestly, if you know, you know, which a lot of people do because they've read this, but I'm not going to say anything because Gabby is currently reading this series and she doesn't know what's going to happen. But there's something that happens in the fourth volume that I genuinely don't understand why they kept writing it. Like, the story's... What's the point? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, unfortunately, I'm going to unhaul these because I was going to keep the first 2 or 3 and the last one and be like, oh, I know I enjoyed those. But I knew that if I was looking at the shelf, all I would be thinking about is that I don't have the other ones because they're not good. And I don't want to do that. So I hold a special place in my heart for these, but I'm not going to hold a place on my shelf for these. This next series, I'm not definitive on whether I want to get rid of them, but I'm going to include them in this video because I want y'all to let me know. Like, if you read manga and you have an opinion on whether or not I should keep these, let me know. But it is Komi Can't Communicate, volumes 1 through 5, and these have such stunning covers. Like, what in the heck? But this is a series that I think is really good. I think it's really cute, but it's not like great, you know? Like, I think it's cute, it's fun, and then you just put it down and you don't really think about it again, which maybe other people feel really strongly about the series, but I've read the first 3 and I gave all 3 of them 3 stars. I was like, it's good, cool. But I was like, do I want to continue reading a series that has like over, I think it's like 20 volumes at this point? And are they just going to continue to be 3 stars? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad about this series. Like, I do not have a single like complaint. I just am not obsessed. So I'm tentatively putting these to the side. But if anybody is like, oh my God, you absolutely have to keep going, it gets so much better, let me know. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. I literally, the amount of just hate that I got when I said that I didn't enjoy this book. Good night, Poon Poon. Why are y'all obsessed with this? Like, I just don't. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I couldn't even finish volume 1. I couldn't finish it because I just don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore because literally this is so many people's favorite and they sob reading this. And clearly I'm just not one of the girls that get it. Now we are on to strictly fiction books, and this is a series, and it is the, is there a particular name? Is it just the All of Us Villains series? I don't know. It's All of Us Villains and All of Our Demise by Amanda Foody and Christina Lynn Herman. We're gonna go back to talking about my Hot Topic heart. I love these covers. I love them. I'm obsessed, okay? Now, here's the thing. I read All of Us Villains in 2021, and I do not know what I was on when I was reading this, but I loved it, and I put it as an honorable mention on my best books. And then I read it again in 2022 in preparation for this and gave it 2 stars. What was I talking about? What was I talking about? I don't understand. And then this book, so Grace read this and she enjoyed it. Like the same way that I did. I gave it 2.5 stars. I was like, listen, the writing is so cliche and dramatic. It's so ridiculous. And like, it's like these kids are supposed to be killing each other and they're just falling in love left and right. They'll just walk in, see another person that they're supposed to kill. And they're like, oh my God, but like she melted my heart. What? No. And then Grace, hilariously, she read this before me. Like we were reading this at the same time and she finished this before I'd even started it. And it was because I was having such a hard time reading this and she enjoyed this. So I was okay. She went into this and she was messaging me and she was like, if you're not liking the first book, the second book is so bad. I was like, really? And she was telling me play by play everything that was happening. And I was like, oh my God, absolutely not. No. So after giving this one a 2.5 star and hearing how much this one sucked, I'm going to be unhauling these, but damn, are they pretty. Another series that I will not be continuing with, but this is a series that I love where it began, so I will be keeping the beginning, but not keeping the sequels, is Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. I am keeping this. I reread this for my Sweats on Book Club, and I really enjoyed it. it was confusing. And I think that when I read it the first time, I had given it a 4-star because I was like, it's confusing. I need to reread it. Like, I'm not really sure. I didn't catch everything. Maybe it was too much. I don't know. And when I reread it, I was like, girl, you're not supposed to understand. You're not supposed to understand it. But I really enjoyed this. I love the relationship between the two main characters and the fantasy, and I love Shauna Maguire's worlds. I loved the side characters in this even more than the main characters. I loved it. But here's the thing. When I was talking about this on the live show, everyone was saying that Seasonal Fears is not good. And like, even people that gave it 3 stars were like, yeah, it was okay, but don't read it. I was like, oh, you said it's okay. They're like, yeah, it's just okay. You're not going to like it. I was like, oh, God, okay. And this is, okay. I've heard a lot of people say that this does not follow Roger and Dodger, but that they have way too much time in the story. And at first I was really confused by that. And then some people on my Patreon were like, the book is not about them. They're just in it too much. And I was like, oh, you mean like in A Court of Silver Flames when the book is supposed to be about Nesta and Cassian, but for some reason all we can talk about is Rhysand and Feyre? And they were like, yeah, exactly like that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I love Shauna Maguire. Love Shauna Maguire. I would gladly devour anything she's written, but I don't want to waste time on something that I'm just going to give 3 stars or 2.5 stars. So I'm going to be unhauling this, and I'm also going to be unhauling the 2 novellas, which are Over the Woodward Wall and Along the Saltwise Sea. I don't know what this one's supposed to be about because Over the Woodward Wall is the book that's referenced so much in Middle Game, and they're supposed to be novellas or children's books that A. Deborah Baker, wow, did I just remember that? Shocking. A. Deborah Baker writes in Middle Game, like they're referenced, but I didn't care about those sections of the book where they reference those novellas, so I can't imagine myself caring about these, and that's so great. Like, Shauna Maguire is amazing, and if you love Shauna Maguire, like, give it a shot. But I can just tell already based on like what I've heard and what I've looked up about these books that I do not want to sully Middle Game's image in my mind. So I'm not going to continue in the series. Because I just spoke about books that I've read for my book club, I'm going to just include the next 2. They are not bad books, and a lot of the books we do pick I end up loving, but not all of them can be like a 5-star success. One of which being The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sengu Mandana. This is a good book. This is a good book. I enjoyed it. It's incredibly fast to read. It's cozy, it's romantic, it's funny, it's sweet, heartwarming, family dynamics, witchy, all of that. But here's the thing. I read it in one day. I flew through this book. It's so fast. And then I listened to the first, I went and got the audiobook and listened to the first 4th of it again right before the live show because I was like, am I like forgetting loving this? But no, it's because the second I put this book down after I physically read it, I never thought about it again. And then the day before the live show, I was like, I need to reread this book. I need to get the audiobook so I can speed through it. I got a 4th of the way through and was like, no, it's not me. This is just not memorable in my opinion. That's not a bad thing. This was a really sweet time when I read it. I enjoyed reading it. But again, I'm just never going to think about it again. So I'm going to unhaul that. And then the other one is Sign Here by Claudia Lux. I really enjoyed this. I gave this one a 3-star and I gave this one a 3.5 star only because this is a book that has never been written. This is so unique and different. And it is so rare that you read a story that has never been written before. So I really give Claudia Lux so much props for that. But the thing that sucks is that this is her debut. And this would have been a 5-star if it was like her 3rd published novel. But because it's her debut, you could tell that it was a debut. And it felt like she was worried that she would never get published again. So she just threw every single idea she'd ever had into one book. And it was really messy. It was really messy. Now, I do not want to get people not to read this book. So it's like, yeah, it's good, but there's too much going on. And there's too many characters. There's too many storylines. But it's not a bad book. And I did really enjoy it. And I'm curious to see what Claudia Lux comes out with in the future. And then I decided to basically eliminate almost an entire genre off of my shelf. And it was when I was reorganizing because I bought all these books and I looked down and I was like, why do I own those? And I wouldn't call these self-help. Some of these are self-help. Most of this is mental manipulation. Like literally a lot of these, I had got like, say, I'll just show you like the ones that go in this kind of category, but the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of War, and less so, but still in the category, How to Win Friends and Influence People. These 3 books are books to help you manipulate people. And I did not think of it that way. Like I was reading, especially The Art of War, which I do see the merit in when it was written and things like that in The Art of War. But the 48 Laws of Power, I don't know about that. And it's basically like just telling you how to psychologically manipulate people and win and have no friends and have no actual connections because everyone is an enemy. And the how to win friends and influence people, I don't feel that way about. Like, I don't think this is like trying to be negative, but I did when I was flipping through it and I was reading the suggestions in this book. I was like, how about you just be a genuine person? Like, just be a genuine person and be nice to people, and then hopefully they'll like you back. Like, you don't have to like use tactics to get people to like you. So I was looking at my own shelf and was like, I would be skeeved out if I came over and saw these on somebody's shelf. I'd be like, are you manipulating me? So that's just how I felt about that. And then You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. When I read this originally, like 8 years ago, I really liked it, but I don't remember anything about it. But I'm never gonna read it again, so I'm gonna unhaul it. And then the other one, which I did really enjoy, but I haven't read it for like a decade, is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. This is a book, I read it twice. Did I highlight in this? I did. Oh wow, I really annotated in this. Oh my God, I like wrote in it. What the hell? This is a book that an acting teacher, an improv acting teacher, had recommended to everybody, and I bought it, read it, absolutely loved it. And this is something that I just don't feel like I need to have on my shelf anymore. But from my memory of reading it, I do think it was really good. And it's basically like how what you say in your head, like this, I remember everything. That's the thing. And I don't feel like I need it anymore because I'm not going to read it again. But this is like basically telling you that anything that you think in your head, like anything you say out loud, like if you're constantly thinking like, oh my God, like if you're saying out loud, like, oh my God, I'm so fat, or like, oh, I can't eat that, like I would gain weight. If you're hearing people say that, then what they're thinking in their head is 10 times the amount that they're saying it out loud. And the things that you think in your head really manifest, and you can make them happen or like create that kind of bad environment for yourself. And that was really eye-opening for me, and I really enjoyed that. Again, haven't read this in like 8 years. I don't remember when the last time I read this was. So I'm not gonna say it's good because I don't remember, but the lessons that I remember learning from this, I do carry on to this day. This is a book that I have read 3 times in the past and loved it, and I've given it 5 stars, but for some reason, I never remember what happens in this book, and that's why I keep rereading it, and I'll love it, give it 5 stars, and then 5 years later, I'm like, why did I love that book? I don't remember. So I was like, I've already read it 3 times. Maybe it's time to let it go, and it's I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Apparently, I really highly recommend this, because again, I've read it 3 times and given it 5 stars. And the only thing I know about this, even though I've read it 3 times, but again, I haven't read this in like 5 years. I think I read it like when I was in high school, then I read it when I was in college. I read it the first year I moved to Atlanta, and it's been a minute since. So this is a book about twins, and it's a girl and a boy, and they're artists, and one of them is gay. And that's all I know. I love this cover, but I didn't love this book. I did not like this, like so much that I put this on my worst books of 2022. And this is one of those instances where the way that I intook this story might not be the way that you intake the story. I've heard people talk about this book and really enjoy it. And the way they speak about it, it's like they're saying the same thing kind of that I'm saying, but I didn't like it and they didn't have a problem with it. So this could be palatable to you. You might like this. But This Ghoul for Good and Others, I did not like, because this, to me, was being very hyperbolic on how terrible women are when they do even the slightest thing wrong in society or to their husbands, especially to their children, and that they are so demolished by society. And I know that's a thing. I know it's a thing. But for this author to like, the way that she hyperbolizes it in this book and like puts men on a pedestal, I didn't feel like it had its due diligence. Like, I don't feel like we got a revenge plot with these women. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it was just constantly tearing down women, and I didn't feel any sense of relief. And I didn't like it. This one isn't bad, but it's not even close to as good as I thought it would be. And that's Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I adore the Veronica Speedwell series. Adore it. And I picked this up, and while I think it's fun, it's like a group of senior citizens who were like assassins, and then now they're retiring, but then the agency's after them to kill them. It's a group of women. And while that's fun and it's fast paced and it's funny, this feels like a movie script. Like, I want this to be auctioned for a movie so bad, because the movie would be fantastic. And if Helen Mirren doesn't play the main character, I'm suing, okay? This, in my opinion, it's just too much. It's, again, hyperbolic. It's just very flashy and clanky. Does that word make sense? Clunky? That might have been what I was looking for. It's just so cheeky. And then also, in my opinion, I haven't heard anybody say this, so I'm like, am I wrong? I don't know. But there's a character in this that's pregnant, and the amount in which they talk about that she's pregnant, I'm like, we get it. She's pregnant. Like, we get it. Why are we constantly talking about it? And in a weird way. Like, I'm like, Deanna, I love you, but like, you need to calm down. Here's another one that you can genuinely convince me with your comments, and it's Mary by Nat Cassidy. I actually read this twice this year and am still conflicted on if I want to get rid of it or not, because I didn't love it, but there were parts of this that I loved, and I genuinely like agree with Jordaline, who's the reason I picked this up and is the reason that I picked it for my book club. The writing is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. Here's the thing though, it is way too long. It is way too long, and it's not like, oh my God, you couldn't read a horror that's this length for any other reason. No, a horror can absolutely be this length. It's that we spend so much of the bulk of this book talking about Mary's insecurities. And while I do understand that that is realistic and that that is true, and this is a Carrie retelling, and Carrie obviously is incredibly insecure, I get that. But the way that it was spoken about, I was like, okay, I got it. Nat Cassidy. Can we move on? But like, again, it is really good. And there were parts of this book that I'm like, that is stunning. Oh my God. So part of me is like, should I just read it again? But I've already read it twice. Y'all let me know. The Girls by Emma Cline. This was good. I gave it 3.5 stars because it was fine. It was like a serial killer, like a culty kind of thing. And it's kind of about the Manson family. But the thing I liked that gave it a 3.5 star was that the main character isn't in the cult because of Manson, or it's not called Manson, but we all know. She's in the cult because of another girl that's in the cult that she's like obsessed with. And that I found very intriguing. But, you know, I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. The last 3 books are ones that I so desperately wanted to love and had like 5-star predictions for. The first of which being What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I did not enjoy this book. Now, I didn't hate it. I didn't like openly, aggressively dislike it, but I didn't like it. And honestly, like, so before I got the physical book, I got the physical book like 2 days into listening to the audiobook, and I did not like the audiobook. Did not like it. So I tried to read it physically. That didn't fix anything. I just didn't like this. And this is on so many people's like best books of the year. And I love T. Kingfisher. Love T. Kingfisher. But a lot of people were having this comparative to Mexican Gothic. And Mexican Gothic was also a book that did not work for me. So maybe, I don't know what you would call that kind of horror, but whatever it is, isn't for me. Oh wait, I forgot that I was really quick going to talk about this, and I forgot about it because it's on my books I've read this month, and I haven't done a wrap up for it yet, but it's Krampus, the Yule Lord by Bram. Slewfoot is like one of my favorite books. I'm obsessed. So I really wanted to read another book by Bram, and it was the holiday season, and I picked this up, and this took me a week, or was it 6 days to read this? What? And I was reading it a lot. Now here's the thing. There are stunning illustrations, just like in Slewfoot. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Beautiful. Here's the thing though. This should have been a novella. I feel like Bram wrote it as a novella and then wanted to get it published as a book, or maybe didn't have the opportunity to publish it as a novella. I don't know the backstory of this, but that's really what it reads like, because this book would never end. It would never end. I swear, you're like this far the way through the book, when the climax like happens, like you're like, oh, it's over. Y'all fought and now something, you know, it's over. You fought and somebody died and now we're done. And then both of them just kept coming back to life. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Why are we still talking about this? Why are we still here talking about this? So, it's not bad, but it's not good. I know I already said that I had 5-star predictions for these, but I'm going to warn you again that I am so sorry. I genuinely wanted to love these 2 books, okay? Like, I really did. There's no hate. I don't even want to hold it up. Babel by Booktube. I'm literally, the cops are coming. Babel by I did not dislike this book. I did not dislike it. I think that I'm happy this book exists. I'm so happy that so many people got such an amazing reading experience out of this, and it's like people's best book of all time. That's amazing. I just wish that I had been that girl. I really do. But the thing is, when I was reading this, there were parts of it that I thought were really good, and the representation of so many different cultures was amazing, and the representation of how those cultures are wiped out by history and the whiteness of history was absolutely amazing. But boy, did I not care about like anything that was happening. I just did not care. I didn't care. Like, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't like it, and I'm so sad about that. We are here for the last book. And I really thought I was gonna love it. I really thought I was gonna love it. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. I love this cover. Look at this. Stunning, stunning. Gavin and I were actually like inadvertently buddy reading this because he was on a sprints with me and he was reading this and I was like, oh my God, that's on my December TBR. Should I read it right now? And I don't remember what I said I was going to read, but I put it down and picked this up. And him and I were reading it together for like 4 hours. And then he had the same opinion I did because I saw him review it in a video recently. And he had the same opinion I did, basically, where this is not bad. It's not bad. I would definitely suggest this for people. Not for me. I'm happy I read it. I gave it 3 stars. I just feel like that cozy, cute vibe is just not for me. And I really enjoyed the sapphic relationship between these, like the siren and the orc. Love that. It was cute. But like, I guess what I'm realizing is I'm not a cozy girly. That was 53 books. 53 books. In my mind, going into this, I thought it was gonna be like 35, but then going back through and counting them, it was 53. That's insane. If you've gotten this far into the video and you're not sure what to comment, well, one, comment on those series and stuff that I said, like Mary and Komi Can't Communicate, if I should keep them or not. But if you don't know what to comment and you want to leave an emoji, let's leave the coffee emoji for Legends and Lattes. Did I have a latte emoji? Just leave a coffee emoji. Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. Thanks for continuing this journey with me into 2023. And I want to say that I hope all of you are having an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having in whatever part of the world you are currently having it in. And I will see you in a video coming very soon. Bye.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody and stained from the people who deceive me.